my coach had come to me and she said, look, Melissa, I want you to do a video series. And I had literally just signed up for a coaching certification. I was like, a video series? I'm not an expert at anything yet, right? That was my story. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll accept this dare, right? So I was thinking for weeks and weeks. And she came back to me and she said, what are you going to do your video series on? And I was like, I can't decide. And she said, Melissa, if you had $1 million and it was just super easy for you to pay $1 million and you knew something could be fixed like that, just in an instant, you paid $1 million and it would be fixed, what would be the thing that you would pay for to have completely healed, completely transformed? And I thought about it for a moment, and right away I said, either sex or money. And she said, then that's what you need to do your video series on. I was like, I just told you those are my biggest weaknesses. So let me back up and share that where I was at in this time. My husband had just really entered a solid place of recovery from an addiction that he had had probably for 20 years before that. Solidly for about 7 years of our marriage, 2 of which were the years I actually knew about it. 5 of those years I didn't even know. And we struggled. Addiction obviously leads to immense struggling and suffering. And so we struggled with our finances. We had all these kids. That did not mean that we had great sex, because his addiction was such a nature that it deeply affected the most intimate parts of our relationship. It affected our intimacy. And so we had just come to this place. The only reason I even felt enough hope to sign up for a coaching certification was because we had come to this place where there was a safety, where I could see that he was making tremendous progress. I had learned so much about myself through the journey, and I felt this hope. You know what? This is going to be okay. And actually, our marriage is going to make it. And so it got me dreaming. It got me thinking, I want a better possibility with money. And I don't want to feel so triggered all the time by sex. I don't want to feel so guarded like I do. And so I sat and pondered, and I was like, okay, which one do I choose? And I chose to do it about sex. And that was the beginning of my career as an intimacy coach. I did these 12 videos over 12 weeks, free trainings. I spent every week gearing up and preparing for this training that I would give, and basically took myself through my own program that I created for myself. And that's how I became an intimacy coach. Fast forward to now, I've probably invested about $200,000 in different certifications and trainings for both sex and money. And have come to this beautiful place where I now feel such a harmony with both. And there's always more. But I feel such a gratitude and such a fullness. And I share this story because I was pondering about this morning. I was just thinking. I was thinking about how women come to me at these different stages in their lives and in their relationships, and they want this peace. They want this openness and this freedom with sex, with money. And sometimes we have to spend their whole time together working on the foundation first. Because as you remember, I talked about doing this crucial, grueling, heart-wrenching, extremely difficult work to create a safety, to create a cocoon, a connection. And my husband and I we got to this place where we were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this kind of connection existed. I really didn't know. that it could be so sweet and so tender. And it wasn't until I felt that safety that I was then willing to even look at my own tendencies to guard myself and my pleasure and these most sacred parts of me as a woman. And for me, that's completely tied to money. Every time that I experience pleasure, I feel more attuned to the flow of abundance. I feel more, honestly, worthy. I believe in my worth to receive and generate income and to be able to help the clients that I serve. It's all so connected. For me, I had to figure out the intimacy piece before I could have access to the money piece. And that was the way my journey went. And I see that that's not always the case for people. I know people who create great financial success, right? And they don't have the intimacy piece. And that is why I have shown up in the capacity that I have, because I believe it is my privilege to say, I know what this is like and I can guide you to the full experience. It doesn't have to be either or, like either my career or really great relationships. It is both, and it can be both. But how can we really access these deeper layers of this life experience that we want? Really accessing the joy and enjoyment from the revenue that we've generated and created, or really access the deeper layers of sex and the pleasure that we can experience if we haven't first created this safety. So I want to leave you with just a couple of thoughts about the safety that we get to create. I thought that it was my husband's job to create that safety for me. And I learned that it wasn't. That almost no matter what he did to make amends, to be vulnerable, to show me that he had changed, to show me that he was actually the man that I wanted him to be and that I had hoped he was when we got married, it wasn't enough until I did the work to create my own safety. And that's the true beauty of being in the feminine. For me, creating my own safety looks like two different things. And this is where I want you to ask yourself, do I have these aspects in place for myself? The first one is being able to fully trust in the universe, fully trust that I am cared for and protected and loved and deeply cherished and pursued by the universe. That the purpose of life is not just some big testing ground, but it's actually here for me to experience the divinity within myself, to use this human experience for something greater than myself. And then can I trust in that? Can I rest in that? Can I surrender in that place? That's the first part. And the second part is, can I love myself through it all? Can I love myself when I feel inadequate? Can I love myself when I stick my foot in my mouth? Can I love myself when I make decisions that are out of integrity with myself and then look back and go, oh, shoot, you got to make amends. You got to do stuff. You got to make this right. Can I love myself deeply in that? So, and that's it, right? So I want you to ask yourself, do I have those for myself? That is your entry point to being in your feminine energy. And then once you experience that with yourself, can you create that with your partner? And what is needed for you to be able to create that with your partner? And then the doors just literally fly open. Because now you have everything you need within you to Go create the abundance that you want to. Go have the most amazing intimacy that you want to. Actually utilize your own sensuality and the partnership for the power that is there as the fuel that it can be in your day-to-day life. Just been thinking about all this and how all these parts and pieces tie together, and wanted to share today. If you've listened to this and this resonates with you, I'd love to hear, what speaks to you and where you find yourself on this journey. Just shoot me a DM. I'd love to talk. Okay, bye guys.